one of the kindest and most wonderful artists that we've ever come in contact
gentle soul,
with. And
humble man.
A talent beyond talents. And without further ado, we introduce
you. If you're ready, somebody let's count down to Freddie. 3, 2, 1. Ladies and gentlemen, Freddie
Jackson! That's
Freddie,
right.
Are you ready?
Have a seat,
Have
please.
a seat, Freddie. Have a seat. Have a seat.
We don't mind because you have to show off this sharpness. It's always sharp.
Woo!
Yes, indeedy.
To pull out the stuff for my
so
family.
fresh and
Yes.
so clean.
For my family, you gotta come right.
A career of sharp, though.
This goes
This is
back
from
in the closet after this.
Shoulder pads is down,
Just
though,
chill.
Freddie.
Well, I got
Shoulder pads is down.
I got a closet full of shoulder pads.
I know
Y'all
you do.
about me and shoulder pads, but
I mean, and really, we should be having those jacket. That jacket should be on display somewhere. No, I'm
in
serious.
the African American Museum.
There are names on that wall. I seen some of them names.
well, you know,
That jacket need to be in there.
well, we
I
can
mean,
do that.
the blue
that
one.
one too, though. That one too.
You know the blue one I'm talking
you're
about.
talking about the Rock Me Tonight jacket.
Yes.
Man, those pads were so big I couldn't fit into rooms. They were so.
Well,
I
Freddie
did-
was a football player out there.
They thought I did a photo shoot once, and the photographer went to my manager and said, the next jacket that he wears, could you ask him to please tone down the shoulder pad? Because I couldn't lean up against the wall because the pad was so big. But, you know, back in the day, that was the look for guys.
We already
was
know.
the look.
You know, the fellas
yes.
had them in their jackets.
Yes.
We had a shoulder pad in that jacket. We all, I mean, in our sweaters.
Yes.
We had,
It was the 80s.
it was the 80s,
It
but
was
it was the
80s.
look. And it did what it
Oh, and
needed
you was fly.
to- Oh, listen, I spent a lot on those shoulder
Oh,
pads.
I know you did.
But you,
I know you did. They didn't come cheap.
not the advertising pads, but pads.
I love it though. I mean, but it was such a huge influence on fashion at that time. Like it was everything.
But you remember back in the day, y'all, when that was the glamorous part of about our.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I was just speaking to my good friend Miss Shirley
Murdoch.
as we lay Murdoch. And we didn't, but well, let's keep it Jesus. But Shirley's my sweetheart. And we were just talking about I wouldn't trade any of the experience of my Rock Me Tonight day, 1984, in Capitol Records, and coming up during those times of what the music industry was about, true melodies and songs and artistry. Artists used to also bind and connect together. That's how Shirley and I became close, from touring and dates and artist to artist. Where we would sing, we would write, we would join forces together. And it was not so much about the spins, the radio, the this or the that. But I'm glad that in 1984, I was a part of a generation where true music, true R&B music was truly R&B music.
Yes. I mean that some of the most sophisticated slickest production, solid, beautiful, classic songwriting, just really, like you said, a glamorous era. And for those of us who listen to those songs, we wanted to do that. You know, that's what we got into the game to do that. Watching that, using that as an example, so this is how you do what you do. So yeah, I mean, it goes far beyond the look. It's all about, like I said, the grooming.
It's the grooming, it's the class, it's the truth that you bring to You Are My Lady. It's the truth that you bring, Luther would bring to his songs. It's the truth that Aretha Franklin would bring to her songs that made her the natural woman that she was. And to die the natural woman that she was, and also to be able to gain the respect that she deserved so deservingly so. You know this as artists, you know, and especially today. It's not about, I make a record now because I choose to want to make a record more so for my audience than I do for a radio station.
Right.
Because if we had to depend upon that right now, we would never be heard. So the fans and our friends are our true friends that keep us alive and keep us motivated, because I make records, especially now, and I'm grateful, Lord have mercy, I'm grateful for the 11 #1 records. But to start all over in the place where it's at right now, I don't know if it's some place where I could really come from the heart. I would think that I'm coming from a commercialized place. So when I sing the songs that I have recorded, they're coming from the heart and the soul, because my mother taught me what comes from the heart will always reach the soul and the heart. And so that's why I continue to do it the way I do. And you gave me an album about 3 or 4 years ago in Harlem, New York City. And I took it home and I put it on, and I could not take it off. And I programmed it on my cell phone. I programmed it all over my house. Let me tell you, I started stalking y'all even when y'all did the television commercial. I was stalking y'all. I was like, oh, I love that family.
You were such a, you know, and we're going to get into your story, because I know everybody's like, but, you know, I just had to tell you, you were just such a blessing to me. The first time I ever met you, I was actually about 3 months pregnant, and I didn't tell anybody, because at that time, everybody knows that we got a jillion kids now.
We got 6
But back
kids.
then,
all over the commercial, you know.
Yeah, but back then, back then we had just the one, and we were nervous, and it really wasn't a thing then for a woman to be pregnant and out and touring. That's something that happened later on down the line, and I was very nervous, and I will never forget you and Nona Hendrix. Y'all, you had no idea, but you were so nurturing and so loving to me that day. We met on India Ari's video shoot.
That's right.
Yes, and y'all
right.
were so amazing to me. So just from the moment I met you, your energy as a person transcended you even as an artist. So knowing that who you are as a person and what you've brought to your music, I mean, it makes sense. You come from the heart, so that's why your music touches the soul.
And you know why? Because I was taught to come from the heart. You know, my mother was a gospel singer in church. My mother gave birth to me 12 hours after she did her concert. So she said, you better had sung something. After all my pushing and you better had rocked somebody for old time's sake. Because you definitely rocked me. Kisses to heaven, Mother. But we come from a family where my mother raised 6 children on her own. Back in the day, 6 kids and my grandmother, they were the strength of the home. And so what they taught us in the house was, before we left the house every day, to leave in love. I was taught love. I sang in church every Sunday. I sang love songs, God's love songs. And in regards to what happens in the world, I still remain that way, and in a place of love. I speak from love. I talk from love, because it's what I was groomed and I know. And so I'm a little saddened by a lot of the lack of love that's going on in our streets today. And we need to teach our children to tell each other that they love each other more. And I think half of that battle, what the world needs now is love, sweet love. Yes. That's what we can use a lot of right now, and I think it's very important. So that's all I know how to do. So when I met you and feeling your energy, and I've always, this man has got the greatest growl in the world. I've tried to
Y'all
do
better give it up for my baby's growl.
I think
it could get deep in here.
Baby, I'm like, well, What a man, what a man, what a man, what a money, what a man. You know, let me tell you, when that man growls, I've tried it, but I've gotten a sore throat after I try to do it.
Everybody can't do it.
Oh, that thing come from the belly of the world.
I got to tell you, you know, you talked about your upbringing. You talked about that, you know, singing, and you actually have an interesting connection with, ironically, the very same church where Ashford and Simpson first met.
White Rock Baptist
Valerie
Church.
told me to tell you two friends of hers, because she's on your album, as a matter of fact.
Absolutely.
And she told me to tell you guys, cello.
Of
And
course.
so I sent
She
it.
was just here, yeah.
Yeah. She told me, she said, yo,
So-
Freddie, I did that.
So was that really like a hub of music? I mean, every city kind of has it in this. It's New York City, so it's music everywhere.
Yeah.
But did you find that was a very special place? Did it have a certain, you know, aura or energy to
It
it?
had a wonderful impact. The White Rock Baptist Church. As a matter of fact, my first song, Rock Me Tonight for Old Time's Sake, was written by a gentleman that Valerie Simpson taught how to play the piano, Paul Lawrence.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm grateful that, first of all, Valerie taught him how to play the piano.
Yeah.
Because I got my first #1 record with Rock Me Tonight. Secondly, what Paul Lawrence did for me as a friend, and because I didn't want to, I was a word processor. I was typing letters and memos. I'm like, I don't want, singing. I just want Jesus. Yeah. Well, I still got Jesus.
Yeah.
Oh, glory to God. I still got Jesus, and I'll never let go of him. But what I got from Paul and from Valerie Simpson and the White Rock Baptist Church was nurturing from the church. The elders nurtured me to be the singer that I am. That was my first audience, as well as the fire escape on the 5th floor when I grew up on 121st Street, 4 blocks from the Apollo Theater. Well, my first stage was the fire escape. My grandmother used to send me out on the fire escape on Saturday when everybody else was out playing ball and doing what they doing. I would be little Freddie Jackson on the fire escape. Yes, Jesus loves me. And the little old ladies across the street would be getting mad. Where that boy at on Saturday while I'm hanging these clothes outside? So the fire escape, I come from a place of realness. Harlem was the realness. The Apollo Theater was my school of education. I saw the best from Marvin Gaye, Otis Redding, Sam Cooke.
Right around the corner from your house.
Out 4 blocks away from my house was the Apollo. That was my college, the Apollo Theater. So I think I was kind of like groomed. I was groomed to do it but then I wanted to be a gospel singer too. So James Cleveland and Cheryl Caesar and all of those folks. I was in between. But then when I heard Marvin Gaye talk about "Let's Get It On," I was like, "Mother, there's been a change."
There's been
Let's get it on. She said, you better get on out of here. That's what you better
Mother, there's been a change.
do. Hey, mother, there's been a change. But music,
Yes.
music is something that's instilled in your body and your soul, and it transfers even through your music so greatly.
I want to ask you about this thing that I just found out today, actually, about Mystic Merlin. And this is the band that you were a part of in California.
Yeah.
Before you come back to New York, I presume, to really get things started with Melba Moore and all of those different things. Wow. Tell us a little bit about Mystic Merlin, because it was jamming. And go back and check out Mystic Merlin. If you haven't, you have Spotify or something like that, check out Mystic Merlin. Tell us about that.
Mystic Merlin was a group. I was working the full-time job, and I got a call and said, this group is looking for a lead singer. The lead singer is leaving because he wants to become a minister. He no longer wants to do secular music. So he said, why don't you go and audition? So I went to the audition, and I sang, and they were like, okay, you're in the group. So 3 months, I took off from my job, went out to California, and recorded that album. Full Moon was the name of the album. And Mystic Merlin was huge, huge group. They were like Earth, Wind, and Fire type of group.
But they backed like a magician.
They were about costumes, magicians, swords, and balls, and lions and tigers and bears, oh my. and all kind of stuff. And
Do you have any of your costumes from then still?
No, I didn't. But I remember when we went to do the album cover, and they told me that's what you're going to be wearing. I'm like, I ain't going to be wearing nothing like that. I look like a sorcerer or some kind of thing. And but I said, but you gotta let me.
They was trying to clearly. They were probably trying to keep up with like Earth, Wind, and Fire.
That's what they
and
were
all
doing.
of the outfits and all the different things.
But I had to leave the group once we did the video because they wanted to put me in a box and saw me in half and stuff. I said, hell to the no.
Look, the music was jamming though. The music was jamming.
Hell, all my life.
So you come back to New York. You come back to New York, and you just leave that where it is.
I left it
and
where
that
it
does what it does, I suppose.
I went back to New York. I went back to my job. I went back to my job. My boss, he welcomed me with open arms, and I began typing again.
Right.
And I wanted to come home, actually. It was like, I don't like this Hollywood stuff. It's not too true. And then Paul Lawrence called me and said, you need to get up from behind that typewriter and do
Getting behind this microphone.
And so I found a place in New York City, and I did a showcase, and that's where I met Miss Melba Moore. She came to the showcase, and she had just started a company, Hush Productions. Out of that company,
Her and her husband.
Her and her husband. But let's talk about her, and she's a wonderful lady. And
we gonna stay on Melba.
Oh, Jesus. But we recorded that album after Melba came to the show, and I went on the road singing background for Melba Moore, and then we recorded the Rock Me Tonight album. And to me, my life was still, I was like comfortable being a background singer. I love background singing, connecting. That's why I was doing sessions for Glenn Jones. Show me.
Yeah, you sang on Show Me, yeah.
I did all those backgrounds on that song. So whenever Glenn sees me, I'm like, pay up.
Where's my money?
Show me, show
money,
me. If you love me, but
have you ever paid somebody? Have you ever paid somebody
the way somebody pays you? Y'all are crazy. But it's the truth. There's that growl.
So how did you, what were some of the challenges that you had once you realized, look, I know I have a good record here, and now you're going from the background into the foreground, and also kind of dealing with the impact of having a very big record, were you nervous? What was that like for you?
It was scary for me because I wasn't used to being, other than like singing in church, singing this, in the forefront of, my whole world changed. That number one, I went from McDonald's to actually a steakhouse. Right. Let's just say that. Everything in my life, interviews, limousines picking me up. The regular Freddie was now I had my name on a door. These things were different, and so it was scary. And all I really wanted, I wanted to make a record and furnish my apartment that had no furniture in it. Yeah. I had a boombox, four big old pillows, and in the daytime, those pillows were my sofa, and at night they became my bed. So I did what I had to do to survive, and I'm grateful for that time. But once I came back, and all this started happening, and number one, I got this record number one, and then it went on number one. It stayed, and Rock Me Tonight stayed number one for 24 weeks. Woo! That's a long time to be talking.
That is a very long time.
I think I know the answer to this question because you basically, answering it. But it's like, looking back over your career, did you become the Freddie Jackson that you envisioned for yourself, or did you exceed expectations?
I became, not until later. I have to be honest with you because, when you first start out in this business, everybody has an idea of what you should look like, how you should talk, how you should walk, the things you say, the things that you do. Yeah. So what color your suit is gonna be. People have, especially when it's success, when you start selling 1 million copies of a record now, I was signed to Capitol Records with Mystic Merlin, and the president didn't even know that I was already on the label. I said, But sometimes that's how, when they care, they care. When they don't care, don't care. But when it matters, then the president now wants to meet you. And I'm nominated in categories for the best new artist of the year. I was the best new artist when I joined Mystic Maryland. Y'all just didn't pay attention. Okay?
Yeah.
But now that we are the best new artists,
Right. I have a few things I need.
there's something that I want to say. So things began to change drastically, but while they were changing, I was able to still hold on to Juanita Jackson's Freddie, the one that she had groomed. And I never let anybody or anything to this day interrupt that space that keeps Freddie happy. You can't steal my joy. My joy is too big to be stolen.
Yeah.
So sometimes when people say no, I say, yes, I can, because this is not of me, and it's not of you. So you can't tell me what's going to happen next to me. I believe in a higher power.
Yes, indeed. You have been in this business free of scandal, free of so many of the other issues that so many other artists have come upon, and it shows that you have a very strong sense of self. You have been very open about your sexuality, and you know that may not have been something that was easy to do at the time that your album came out. So there was a different pressure then. But I do have this question: do you think that it is more difficult for Black artists to be accepted by Black audiences and to be open about their sexuality as opposed to necessarily white artists? Because I have a feeling that Elton John or George Michael, they don't really struggle with this issue as much. You know, did you find that was a more difficult thing to do for your audience?
I never really addressed any questions about my sexuality, because I don't believe that I have to answer to anybody about who I do the hokey and the pokey with.
Yeah. Listen.
I mean,
Yeah.
sometimes you feel like a nut, sometimes you don't. Almond Joy has nuts, Mountain Stone.
Who would you credit your style and influence to, Freddie?
Listen. Look.
Things have gotten a little...
If it ain't family, listen, if you can't be real with your family, who you gonna be real with?
No, I tell
Listen.
everybody, listen, that the lady who left me 5 years ago sat down and looked me in the eye and said, I know you better than you know yourself. I know who you are. I know my son better than the world thinks they know my son.
Yeah.
So you have to say nothing to no one about what they feel about you.
Right.
You don't have to answer to man. Yeah. You see, what I do is a God-given gift. No one taught me how to sing.
Yes.
This is a God-given gift. I love to sing love songs. And that's what I deliver. And I deliver them from my heart and from my soul.
Yes.
Now, once I close my door and I turn off the lights and light a candle.
I'm glad you went there. Let me go to this. What do you think today's crooner lacks?
Today's crooner lacks originality. Am I right, church?
Amen.
Today's crooners are not singing from the heart and from the soul like Nat King Cole sang Unforgettable, that still is a timeless song today. They're not singing For All We Know like Donny Hathaway singing. They're not singing Let's Get It On like Marvin Gaye singing. They're not singing A House is
period.
Period.
She said period.
Now, see, so she's with me. And if they can sing period, they be
Like the
singing.
young people say, period.
Period. They're not singing A House Is Not a Home. Or Can You Woo Woo Woo? They're not singing those songs that have the longevity that sticks will stick with someone, or when someone should hear them today, say, Lord, I remember what I was doing when I heard that song. So music for a balladeer, I don't know who to call a balladeer. Some people are insulted by being called balladeers today. To me, I'll take it because it's one of the highest levels of vocal training and arrangement that one can have.
Freddie leads right into my next question was, why do you think slow music is not as big as it once was? So you're saying that basically there are no balladeers. But why do you think that is? Why did the music move to such a
Where
faster
did the music
pace?
go, huh? But that's because people start saying, oh, do we really need to hear those smushy little love songs anymore? We just want to hear, I wanna. No, let me stop.
But that was my jam,
but no.
But I get
No,
you.
but
Yeah.
understand it. Songs such as, which was a hit. Yeah. Let's call it what it is, and that's my boy. Because we laugh at each other sometimes when we see each other. Oh, you just sing them old love songs. And I'm like, and you just, I wanna. But we play with each other because we have fun.
Right.
We play with each other.
You
but
do something different.
The industry has told people that they no longer need to embrace each other.
Yeah.
To hold. The compassion. Those words, compassion, romance, are not
Grind a little bit, grind.
up against the wall, grinding.
Little red light.
Bring it back to
blue
God.
light.
Bring it back to God.
Bring it on back,
sorry.
bring it on back.
But you know what? What is the songs that you mentioned? The songs that you mentioned, what they have in common really is that breathing room. Yes. Is that moment where you can take a breath, where you can sit for a minute and listen to the music that's playing, and then anticipate that moment when the singer is going to sing. Yes. And that element tells a story. Yes. And so I think many times what's happened is we've begun to rely on the lyrical content to tell the story, and not the moment, not the breathing, not the moment that you come in a little soft and then crescendo. All of those things are not there.
You come in a little soft and then crescendo. Coming in high.
Did you? Did you hear?
He liked it. Me just did.
She liked it. That
he likes when I use big words. Crescendo.
How she added the air on the crescendo. You know, it's like it was like doing a session, right? Now I need a little air on the crescendo. You know,
people don't give directions like that anymore.
But to answer that question, you see, years ago, a song had a beginning, a middle, and an end. Can I get an amen?
Amen.
There was a story that went along with the song.
Yeah.
Not just the beat.
Yes.
I get people that just say, Freddie, I'm going to send you a song. And it's just as a beat. I'm like, well, what's the name of the song? You create one. But it's just one beat all the way through. So I told the guy, I said, well, so you create one. He told me to create it. He said, I said, well, I think the song will need a bridge. He said, what bridge are you talking about? You
take it to the bridge.
You just take it to the bridge.
Yeah, we remember the death of the bridge.
Right.
We think that happened on our watch. As a generation, I think we remember the exact moment that the bridge took a plummet off a bridge.
A major one,
Yeah.
and never to be heard again. That's what made great songs. Songs had a story. They told something. There was a change, but the change in the song went with the rest of the song.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You know, I couldn't put the bridge and Rock Me Tonight and You Are My Lady. They just wouldn't go. Yeah. But so people don't know how to, some call themselves writers. You guys are writers. Ashton and Simpson, writers.
Legendary.
Some people don't, and today, don't write timeless songs. So I want to sing songs that are timeless, and that means it has to be a complete song with a strong melody.
With that said, who are you working with for this new music that you have coming that's on the horizon? Who are you working with? What kind of strong producers and songwriters are you working with?
Okay, secret. you guys are getting it first on your show.
Yes.
That's what we like.
We love it.
First of all, I no longer live in New York City. I'm a Philly, South Jersey boy.
We're going to be hanging out a lot more,
Listen.
Freddie.
Ow!
We're at the house next week.
Hey, and I
You
cook.
cut that shit
And I
out.
cook.
See, listen.
I am
We
now.
need 8 servings. That's all I'm gonna say. It's a lot of us.
Oh, it's okay. Listen, I cook in bulk, so I love to
it.
cook. That's my
Yes.
other passion. When I'm not singing, I love to cook. I'm going
Yeah.
home to eat turkey wings that I cooked yesterday.
Yes.
But and I do eat. I may not look like it, but I do. Actually, I've gained about 25 pounds since I've moved to
We're
South
going to talk about
Jersey.
that a little bit, too.
Yeah,
go
we're
ahead.
going to talk about all that. Well, it was being talked about, so let's talk about it.
Right.
Let's not miss nothing. But yeah, I am a South Jersey, close to Philly guy.
Yeah.
And my manager, Mr. David Stills, who is here, brought me out of New York City and said, it's time for you to get up and out of there. So I have this incredible group of people, group called Jatan, and they are my band. That's my band, and they're here. My recording studio is very close to me, so I'm recording. So I'm working on the very first, after 33 years in this industry. I'm a baby.
Yes.
A few times over.
Yes.
That was not necessary.
It wasn't. It was.
Oh!
It was petty. It was petty
that
and
was very
shady.
petty. No crescendo for him.
No crescendo for you.
No crescendo for you.
Own your experience, Freddie. Own your experience.
So I have my very first album this album will be the very first album that I am actually writing and producing myself.
Wonderful.
After 33 years, I finally decided to sing my own melody.
Freddie is ready.
Yes.
Freddie's ready.
He is ready.
So I figured I'd come this close. You know, I've had people from Philadelphia who's written wonderful songs for me. McFadden and Whitehead.
Oh, yes.
You know, I Don't Want to Lose Your Love. They wrote. Oh, y'all know that. She said,
don't
whoa,
wanna
make my day, make my. Oh, I don't want to lose your love. They can take all my money and scandalize my name, but I don't want to lose your love. Now, that was the song. We mess with my cash. No, but
That was love.
that was love. No, just joking, no. But, you know, so I'm here. So when you see me walking down the streets of Philly, don't act like you don't know me. Okay, talk to me. I'm human and I like conversation. As you can tell, I can talk a little bit. So I don't get out that often. So, but this is the first album. I'm singing Freddie, what's been on my mind, what's on my heart.
Yeah.
Things that I feel that it's necessary for me to talk about, but with a melody, with a lyric, to answer questions, but in the way I need to answer them. And the best way I can find to do that is through my songs and my music, because I'm a gentleman in all things that I do. And so therefore, I think it's important to answer some things, but also at the same time to talk to people, because my fans want to know that I have grown, and that I've grown in a way that's positive enough for me to feel good, truly feel good about Freddie Jackson and where he is at in his life. I'm talking about things. I have a song on my album called Why, and the why is the world in such a state of confusion. Suddenly, we are in such a chaotic place in all of our lives. And it's going to take every single one of us to stand up and ask the question, why? Don't be afraid to talk about it. So I'm writing things like that. I wake up. I couldn't live with anybody right now, because I wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning writing, singing into my cell phone. You know, it's one of those things, you know.
Getting the ideas out, yeah.
Getting those ideas out. And one of my producers said, you just got a lot of things on your mind that you need to say, Freddie. And it's coming. It is coming out.
Well, you
and
have to promise
I'm so
to come
excited.
back here when you're finished with the new music and
Would
give
love
us, give us a taste of the new music. We
I
would love for you
love
to come
do
back
that.
and
I can
show
come
us
over
that.
to the house and
Oh, well,
or we
that's a
cooking
given. You done already told me that you cook.
Or we can do that.
I'm ready for that.
That's gonna get me there, right?
That's
She
gonna
love
get
it
you
when
there.
With a
anybody else cooks.
crescendo.
With a
yes.
crescendo.
Tell us a little bit
love
about this weight loss situation and getting healthy.
The
because I know it's very
blogs are
important to you.
dumb and they done
The
said a
blogs,
million different things.
But
Yada
talk
yada.
to
So
the
let's clear it
people
up.
in your own words about what's happening with you and staying healthy and why it's important to you.
Yes.
Listen, whenever people see a transformation in someone's life, the first thing they automatically say is that it's a virus, or that's the first place they want to run. And
Right.
there's other ways that you can get sick. Let's remember. But I'm grateful to God that that's not what I'm dealing with. What I am dealing with and did not know on the road, on a bus, on a plane, y'all know the whole road thing,
Yep.
catching what you can eat when you can catch it when you can, having to eat at the right time because it may affect the throat. And then there was a point in time in my life where I was burning the candles at both ends. And I wasn't resting, I wasn't sleeping, but mainly I wasn't going to the doctor to see what was going on with me. Ladies go to the hospital more than men.
This is true.
Guys, we think, hey, I'll get over it. It's just a little cough or it's just some pain and whatever the situation is. And for a long time, I wasn't understanding what was going on because the suits started getting smaller and smaller. I was buying them and having them taken in. And when I realized, I was like the incredible shrinking man. But so then I know that something is wrong. So went to the doctor. They were ready to throw me into the hospital. They said, we're going to send the police because you could have went to sleep last night and not woke up because I was down to count 5 in blood. So anemic, kidneys just a mess. A lot of stuff just a mess that I was not. And my energy level was high. I'm like hopping around the stage, tasting love.
Right.
Don't you want some? But meanwhile, my insides were saying, help. So I went to the doctor. And so 4 days before my birthday, I was laid up with a robe on.
Yeah.
And kidneys were not acting correctly. And the kidneys are needed. And it was failing my body. So that's the basis of what was going on with Mr. 11 #1 record man, that I wasn't taking care of what I needed to do for Freddie.
Yeah.
But I was making sure the rest of the world had what they had, family, friends, but I was not doing what I needed to do for me. There's a song on my last album last year came out, it's called Find My Way. I had to find my way. I had to become comfortable with Freddie enough to even go to the hospital. Because anybody in a white jacket, I was like, Satan. I didn't want to talk to them because I was afraid of what I may hear. But then when I was laid out, and so some of the bloggers, some of that stuff really, really hurt me because I'm flesh and blood.
Yeah.
And I breathe, and I cry, and I ache, and I pain like every human being does. Some of it hurt because it was so not true. And it's the way the things that some of the people were saying. They were like giving me funerals and stuff like that. I'm like, oh, you mean awful person. How dare you try to take something away that does not belong to you? Yeah. And so it would hurt. But on the other side, I turned it around. Yeah. And I said to some of those people, thank you. You know why I said thank you? Because I couldn't see what was going on wrong with me. Somebody else did it, but they were trying to be negative. But they allowed me to see that I needed to really take care of myself. So I turned it around to those negative thoughts and I turned it into something positive for Freddie. So I went from 122 pounds to now a whole 160. Now let's talk about Tasty Love.
Yes, indeed.
I'll take it.
We will take it. And we, with that being the case and being so grateful to have you here healthy, happy, taking good care of Freddie Jackson, because that's what's most important.
That's right.
The music, we're all grateful to have it, but we're grateful to have you.
Thank you so much.
And so honored, of course, to have you here in person to sing for us and to talk to us.
Oh, am I singing?
And
I'm going to sing?
We hoping you will.
We hoping so. I know some of these folks out here would like you to sing. Would you all like to hear Mr. Freddie Jackson sing?
Wait. Before that, I have to ask one more. I didn't get to this. There was a time on the charts, we talked about crooners and balladeers. You and this gentleman who you mentioned earlier were really like the guys. You and Mr. Luther Vandross. I really want to know some personal behind the scenes of the relationship between you and Mr. Luther Vandross, because it would seem, though I know you both would probably tell us, if he was alive, he'd probably tell us the same thing, that there was never any real rivalry. But at the time, it was just like you had to want to be number one, just like he wanted to be number one. So what was that vibe like between you and Luther?
I told him to get out of my way. Ooh. Take that to you. Ooh.
Yeah. Tell me about the first time you met Luther, and anything about you.
First of all, Luther and I used to, there's a thing in the industry when you keep rivalry and stuff going, they sell more records. Because every time Luther had an album out, I had an album, we go buy one, see whose album is the best. Go right ahead. Keep us competing with each other. Yeah. When Luther passed, I said, shucks, I ain't got nobody to play with now. But we used to stage little things and watch people go, oh, they hate each other.
And that's before social media, because you can't even imagine what it would have been like with social media, with those kinds of things.
Man, people would have had their cell phones like they're killing each other behind that tree. But my first introduction to Luther, I was nominated for the Rock Me Tonight album. Mm-hmm. Stevie Wonder took the award, and I still love Stevie Wonder. I have no regrets.
Right on.
I just called to say I love you. That's my boy, though.
I know it is.
We just didn't see things the same way. But no.
Leave Freddie alone.
No, Stevie.
Now y'all know that was a different Stevie era at that time.
Thank you.
Yes.
Because Stevie Wonder.
Y'all gotta get out of songs in the key of life mode and move a little forward.
Yeah, right.
It's different time.
And Stevie likes
Lady
jokes.
in Red.
Stevie is a jokester.
Yeah.
He likes to make jokes and have fun. Stevie will play a practical joke on you before you be like, Stevie got me. But anyway, Luther Vandross, I was in a posh Hollywood hotel and Grammy nomination. Knock on my door, I open up the door, and Luther Vandross is standing there, and I'm like,
And this is your very first time meeting him.
I never laid eyes on him before, other than in the balcony watching him perform in New Jersey, Newark Symphony Hall. But now I'm opening up my door and he's standing there. And so I said, Mr. Vandross, he says, hello. He's like, so you're Freddie Jackson. I said, yes. I said, well, would you like to come in? He says, oh, no. I don't want to come in. I just want to see who you were. And I've got a card for you. And I'm wishing you well on your Grammy nomination. He says, now break a leg. I said, well, you sure you don't want to come in? Oh, no. But break a leg. Break both of them.
A little class and a little sass.
So, you
gotta
but
love it.
That was Luther.
Yes.
And so then we would continue these practical jokes, like going in a store and telling the security, watch out, Luther Vandross is on the 3rd floor. And it would be like, watch Freddie Jackson, because he lives so uptown, he might be clipping y'all in this. So we would play games, and at Valenick's parties that they used to have in the summertime, we actually staged he's like, Freddie, let's go back here. And it was a table full of dignitary Maya, Angelo, Diane, Carol. The list, when they was all sitting underneath this big old umbrella, and they're sitting there having their little Cecily Tyson, having their Hollywood moment. And Luther said, let's play a joke. Let's act like we're arguing and see what happens. So we started. I'm like, well, you think you this? He's like, well, you really can't say no way, and blah, 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 blah. We went on like two guys getting ready to duke it out. And that table got quiet. You could hear a pin drop. And so he said, okay, meet me on the other side of the house. And when we walked away, he said, did you see her face? Did you see her face? So controversy sometimes works. But I dearly miss Luther Vandross. He wouldn't let me sit on his Italian furniture. He would say, no, you sit over there, or don't sit over here. But we would play and have a good time. So I miss just us, the comparison. Listen, I was honored to be compared to Mr. Luther Vandross. I didn't want to be compared to Tom Petty.
I don't think anyone made that comparison.
And they bet not.
No, literally.
They bet not.
No, they better not even go there. But I was honored to be compared to a man who was a consummate. He was an orchestrator in his own mind. He had a vision, a show vision, from the way he dressed his singers, the way he gave his art so well. And so it's not any artists that come out today. You can't tell me that they have not stolen a Luther Vandross lick somewhere in it. I'm just the one telling the truth. I took a couple of those licks, but I transformed them into licks.
You made them for
That
you.
was Freddie. And see, and I teach that to people. You've got to have your own niche in this. It's all right to borrow from him and her. You know how many Marvin Gaye sound-alikes are there? Very few Donny Hathaway sound-alike guys.
Very few.
Because he is so special. He had such a tone that was, rich as a singer. But you've got whatever you bring to the table, it's all right to snatch a little bit of it. But then you've got to bring you. Most of it has got to be you. So what I brought was that training from the fire escape in Harlem, USA, to my tracks. Luther had birds chirping in the background. I want to tell you.
And Minnie Riperton
And
vibe,
all that stuff. Where my music was like...
You know what, now I never even thought about those birds until just now. I was like, wait a minute, there are
That's
birds.
aesthetic right
Come
there.
on.
There's birds in that
It's a
song.
summer day
It's the birds and all, but you can get right.
Oh,
Am I
on the
right?
way home tonight, I'm going to pull that up.
But
yes,
listen to that
indeed.
song. I want to tell you, baby.
I love
Birds.
it.
But I just went, I could use a little love right now. I went straight to the bedroom.
See, I got hype.
There was no fantasy in my music.
You can't do
was
it.
Reality. Let's get it started. Let's rock for old time. I don't know you where you been, but let's just do it for old time's sake.
Right
Yes,
on.
indeed. Well, that's a wonderful
And
transition.
we should do it for old
We
time's
need
sake.
to get it started
Ladies
and do it for
gentlemen,
old time's
brothers
sake.
and sisters, give it up for Mr. Freddie Jackson.
Yes, indeed.
Y'all bring out the
I know
worst
Philly
in
can
me.
do better
Band,
than
come on
that.
back out and join
Freddie
us.
Jackson.
Yes.
Let's just do a couple of little things. What about that song? Shirley Murdoch, I love you so much. Let's keep it running. Does that pen mean you want my number? Put that pen back in your bag. It's it's all. Yeah. You remember this? Ooh, Norman Connor's Love. Yeah. There's something that I wanna say, but words sometimes get in the way. I just wanna show my feelings for you. There's nothing that I'd rather do than spend every moment with you. I guess you should know I love you so. You are my lady. You're everything I need and more. You are my lady. You're all I'm living for. There's no way that I can resist your precious kiss. Yeah, you got me so hypnotized. You make me say yeah, 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 yeah. Stay with me, 'cause our love was meant to be, and I do promise to love you more each day. You are my lady. Yes, you are. You're everything I need and more. You are my lady. You're all that I'm living for. To the B section. You are my yeah. Want some more? Get on up out of those seats. Come on. Kindred family style. Ah, suck it, suck it. Tell me why you came here. Was it just to sit and stare? Or won't you come along with me? Take out some time. Come on. If you lend me a hand, then I know that we could jam. Let's get on down right now. Let's get on down. Oh, now don't you wanna? Come on, I know some singers in the house. Now don't you wanna? Don't you wanna jam? Tonight there's a new dance in town. Now who could be sitting down? You've got to move in time. The time must go on. Everybody in this room, clap your hands at your feet. And now you have got the beat. And it's not too hard to keep. Once you start to jamming and jamming and jamming and jamming and jamming and jamming, jamming, come on. Now don't you wanna jam? Don't you wanna jam tonight? Don't you wanna? Don't you wanna? Don't you wanna jam? Don't you wanna? Do you wanna jam? Somebody scream. Say yeah. Yeah. Break it on down, band. What you say? Funky four corners, y'all. Do the slide, come on. Y'all remember this stuff. Don't you want?